Near the island of Guadalcanal lay a small island called Tulagi. The Imperial Japanese Navy was given the objective to capture this island as part of Operation Mo, the Empire of Japan's strategy in the South Pacific in 1942. Seizing control of Tulagi would benefit the Japanese greatly, providing cover and reconnaissance support for the Japanese forces that were advancing on Port Moresby, in New Guinea. It would also provide greater defensive depth for the major Japanese base at Rabaul to threaten and interdict the supply and communication routes between the United States, Australia, and New Zealand. 400 men of the 3rd Kure Special Naval Landing Force will be landing on the island. Once the defenders have been defeated, they must immediately begin constructing military facilities to further the Japanese control of the area. Historically, the Australian troops stationed on the island withdrew just before the Japanese forces invaded on May 3rd, but in today's battle, we're going to see just how much damage the Australian defenders can do to the invading Japanese Marines from the 3rd Kure SNLF. Alright everyone, it's time to get the battle started. I am super excited to see how this one's going to turn out. I'm going to be in charge of the Japanese landing crafts. I'm not going to be in control of any of the troopers inside of them. I'm just going to make sure that they get ashore safely. Well, not safely. The Australian defenders have set up defenses, and they know that the Japanese are coming. It's for sure. So we'll see how it goes for either of the two nations. Here are 4 out of the boats here. This should represent about 1 company of Japanese SNLF troopers. And we're already taking fire, so I'm going to make sure these guys get ashore. Taking lots of machine gun fire right now. The 2 boats landing on the right side are going to have an easier time because they're not really being focused down right now, but there's a lot of fire. So let's get them ashore. And I'm going to give them a little help spreading out early on here, so that we don't all get mowed down by the machine guns. Because there's a lot of fire aiming down at us right now. Spread some of the troopers out. So we've landed the first company now of Japanese Marines. And I think they'll handle themselves. Okay, so there's a river running down the center here. There are less Australian troops on the left side of it. The last portion of Australian troops should be the ones back here by this destroyed building. Got a Bren gun back there, lots of Lee Enfields. And they're going to be opening up at the Japanese troopers now. Have sort of captured this small radio control tower, or just a small, I don't know, would you call this a radio post? It's in a good location. This island is a smaller one. This is one of the higher points on the island, I presume, so very suitable to build a tower there near the coast as well, where you can pick up signals from other ships as well. Here on the right side, we're making progress, but look at the Vickers gun up here, the M1917, I believe. It's just in full effect here, trying to take down as many Japanese attackers as possible. Bullet ricocheted off the rock there. That one actually hit him, so he's going to have to go down and cover. Really cool action. How's it looking with the bunkers here in the middle? Not a lot of enemy presence. One of the machine gunners in here have indeed been knocked out. You can see the empty M1917 right there. That is super cool. That is not a Vickers, by the way. That would be wrong of me to call it a Vickers. It's an M1917, and usually when it has the round cylinder-shaped object around it, means it's water-cooled. Otherwise, it would pretty much look like a regular 30 cal, I believe. Could be wrong, of course. The 30 cal would also be called M1919, if I'm not too wrong, which is the later variant. So the Australians down here are starting to get knocked out. Few more defenders back here. The people, or the Japanese Marines rather, landed here on the left side. They can move up here and attack the airfield from the left. There's some good open areas here. There's some cover by vegetation, of course, but there's a lot of Australians dug in here. They're going to be ready to receive the Japanese once they've cleared out that small fortified area back there. They might just link up with the troops on the right side of the river to clear out the enemy positions this way. It'll be easier to get to the airfield, but it's pretty heavily fortified. So we'll have to find out how it goes later on. As the battle rages on in the background, 2 of these landing crafts are going to return back to the Navy and pick up more Marines. Interesting. Okay, the airport defenses are starting to kick in now. We've got several cool positions back here. Mortar that you've heard previously. I've heard a lot of explosions, which must have been from the mortar itself. We've got an interesting bunker position right here and another machine gun covering this open area down here. None of the Japanese troopers seems to be advancing up here. They are very dedicated to their flanks now. People here on the right side have finally cleared out the Vickers machine gun position up here. God knows how many Japanese soldiers were killed. We'll have to find out looking down here at the beach later once the battle is over. But more Japanese soldiers are moving up, and they are heading for the open stretch now. Mortar fire landing. We've got a couple of rice fields here. And it's gonna get pretty intense here for the airport defenders. Oh, look at that mortar impact. Sweet. A lot of Arisaka fire now, and you hear various machine guns, Bren guns, Lewis guns, you name it. Everything firing away. Mortars opening up. We see lots of Japanese troopers just charging through the forest here. The airfield is being surrounded and approached from all directions right now. The bunker position back here is going to be putting a lot of fire on the advancing Japanese troops on this side as well. It's going to be harder for the troops that landed on the left side of the river to approach, because this open area here is just an absolute kill zone. It's easier to approach up here on the right. And I think they've cleared out most of the people here in the immediate vicinity. They do have the mortar and a lot of defenders back here to kill that have sort of set up an ad hoc defense, dug a few quick trenches, set up a few quick sandbag positions. Nothing that is too rigid. Their bunkers and their main emplacements have fallen to the enemy Japanese. See an officer up here, 2 NCOs. Holding it down, issuing orders. The trenches are being cleared out. One of the Australian machine gun positions has been taken out as well. That gun is going to be just disabled for the rest of this battle. Japanese forces are sort of like storming out of this bunker trench, and the mortar shells are landing accurately, just killing dozens of Japanese attackers. They're forced to pull back. I don't know what kind of position they've put themselves in here, but they're going to be pinned from all angles right now as the Japanese troops are just pouring at them. Look at that. That is absolutely incredible. How's it looking on this side? More Japanese attackers, slightly pinned. The sheer strength of their attack has been, well, degraded a bit. But they're still packing a lot of firepower. The Australians are still doing quite well. Not too many defenders back here have fallen to the Japanese enemies. But they're not many in numbers, but they've got good positions out here. We see a couple of Australian soldiers going down here and there. I hear a few screams. The mortar is doing a lot of work. Car is smoking. Hopefully it doesn't explode. That'll be quite catastrophic to the nearby defenders there. It might go up in flames. There we go. Ow. That's going to mean the end for a few Australian soldiers there. That was pretty epic. Good shooting there from the Japanese. Must have been one of the light machine guns. Some pretty focused fire there on the engine block. The mortar is still really pinning the attackers down here. If they could attack more to the left, I think they'd get more and better results out of it, but so far, nothing has come out of that. Comes the third and potentially final wave. This is what this battalion has to offer. There won't be much left of the battalion at all if all these Japanese men die to the Australian defenders. Well, they're getting closer than ever now. And they're even going to be putting some fire on the mortar position itself. This is a very epic battle, I gotta say. This is more than I expected. The Australians are putting up a very good fight with what little men they have. Oh, saw a gun fly past the screen there. Okay, one of the platoons are attacking in the open here. They're going to be, well, not going to be. They do have some cover. The terrain has a little bit of a variation in it, and there's a lot of tree stumps they can hide behind. But there's some dangerous Australian positions here that are going to be shooting at the Japanese attackers. Look at that. I love hearing that machine gun fire. Absolutely amazing. We have more gunners back here. A Bren gunner, a Thompson, M1928, I believe, which would be the variant that we'd try and use. Since we're using the Rising Storm mod this time around, we do have slightly different weapons at our availability, so we can reach more historical accuracy. Tell me if you guys would like to see more of this mod or Dono's Realism mod. Personally, I prefer this one when it comes to Pacific battles. It has more to offer, and in this case, it gave me the ability to use Australia. This is very cool indeed. Yep, the mortars have been knocked out. The Japanese troops are sort of swarming this place now. The final trenches are about to fall. There is one more position back here with 2 riflemen. They have quite a good position and a lot of open area to cover here. Japanese have little to no cover to get to them, but I think they'll win the firefight with the sheer amount of rifles that they have. Trenches are starting to fall now. They have a few elevated positions back here. Some Lee Enfields shooting at the Japanese attackers. They're going to be shot down quite quickly. 2 Lee Enfields back here opening up at the Japanese riflemen who are charging at them. The Marines are getting closer. Oh, look at that, man. It was blown back from that 303, which I believe the Lee Enfield is chambered in. And the last 2 Australian defenders, it's going to get quite sweaty. But once they are dead, the Japanese have actually been successful with their invasion of Tulagi here. So this will be very interesting, to say the least. Shot back. Look at that. Oh, bloody. Bloody indeed. Look at that. What an absolutely amazing fight. I really, really, really enjoyed that. Let's take a look at casualties. Yellow will be Japanese, red will be Australian. And you can tell that it's been a slaughter for the Japanese. The entire battalion of the SNLF regiment that was given the orders to attack this island has just taken so many casualties. They might even have to disband the entire battalion. The regiment will only have 1 battalion left, or 2, depending on the size of the regiment and overall. But look at this. And what I thought would be specifically interesting is to look at the casualties down here on the beach. That machine gun position killed a good platoon. That was dangerous. It was in a good position, and they held out long. Not to mention all the mortar fire that has been dropping. Hundreds of Japanese soldiers. 300 Japanese soldiers landed on the island. I'd say a good 50 to 60 are alive. Could be a little bit more than that. The third wave did not take all too many casualties. It was definitely up to the first 2 waves to take the most of the Japanese Australian defense, so to speak. Wow, what an absolute crazy fight. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm excited to make more, to be honest. We're going to do the invasion of this island by the U.S. Marine Corps later on, towards the later parts of the war, where they will be landing with water buffaloes and whatnot. And this map is going to look different. I'm going to have, obviously, modified it to look more Japanese. Of course, the Japanese regular army will be here then, not only Marines, so it's going to be a lot different. We might even see some armored vehicles and tanks and lots of Zeros on the airstrip and whatnot. So really cool stuff. Hope you're excited for that as well, and I will see you then. Thanks for watching. Bye.